Welcome to Sports Talk with Zeca Marques. We're on the back of October, World Mental Health Month, and tonight's program is dedicated to that with a very, very special guest, someone that's a very good friend of mine, Nathan van Niekerk. Goeienaand, welkom. Thank you for taking the invitation, and we're going to unpack your story. I think it's a worthwhile story for people to listen, and I think what you're going to contribute today might even change people's lives, which is significant in the world that we live in. Nathan, welcome.
Baie dankie, thank you very much. Good evening to all the listeners. Yes, my name is Nathan, as Coach have mentioned, and I've been born and raised and schooled in Regenpark.
So you're from Regenpark, eh?
Yes.
Interesting story. And I'll tell you why it's interesting, Nathan, because as a youngster, I played in Regenpark against Spades United.
Yes, Spades was a very famous team, very competitive, also established in the early 40s, I think. And then I started off my soccer career with a team called Charlton FC. For a number of years, I started my junior soccer career there. And then we formed a soccer team called Sun United. And then it became Dresser Sun because of the sponsorship from the company Dresser. Dresser was an American company where I used to work at the time and acquired the sponsorship from them.
Tell me, I remember Spades United, they were a quality team.
They were
a feisty team. Every time we looked at the fixtures, we playing Spades United, I'm like, hier kom 'n probleem of twee.
Yeah.
Not only did I play against Spades United, but I played against Bosman, Chelsea, Leeds United, all those teams.
Yes, I remember those teams, quality teams.
Quality teams, eh?
Yes.
And now they're just part of the history.
Yeah.
Strangely enough and sadly enough, it's that.
Yeah.
But Nathan, today we're here to unpack your story. You played football, you got injured, you bore the brunt of that injury, you had an operation not so long ago.
Yes.
Because of that. How did that happen and when?
Yeah, while I was young, coach, injured myself. First injury when I was in early 20s, I think 21. I had a cartilage injury, and then I went back to play because I was very eager and a very enthusiastic soccer player. I wasn't that excellent player, but the enthusiasm and back in the day, we all wanted to be teenage bloodline, you know. And then I was a bit of a dribbler, and I got a second injury soon after the first surgery. And that's where they have inserted some screws to repair me. And then I was well. I could run again. I could play a little bit of soccer, but obviously not at the same level. And then I went into administration, but playing the odd game again. But that's when my career actually took a bit of a nosedive when I was still in my early 20s.
Nathan, how was the times? I know it was tough times for us in South Africa. We won't go into the politics, but it was difficult times. How were the times for you as a youngster, being brought up in that environment? How did it affect you mentally?
Mentally, that's now a word that I would like to also unpack a bit because yes, I suffer a mental condition, but only discovered at the later stage of my life at the age of 33. But growing up in an area of Regenpark, there wasn't much opportunity for young aspirant soccer players. Other than Jomo Sono used to come and watch the top guys, and also not very much came of it, you know. The guys couldn't make the grade because of financial challenges, coach. And coming back to the mental issue, at the age of 33, it was discovered that I suffer condition bipolar.
And how did you find out? How did you get it? How did you come to find out?
We found out about the condition because I fell into a dip, which at the time was unheard of. Bipolar wasn't the prominent word used. They said it was major depression. Only then, after a lot of research by my younger brother, then we found out there's some deeper issues. It is called bipolar, because then it went back to some years back, also in America, when there was a name attached to the major depression called bipolar. Bipolar is a mood disorder.
Yes,
it's a mood disorder. It's either you are very high or very low. So I went into the low for 3.5 years.
And how did it come about? Because it is a disease.
Yes,
It
yes.
says a disease. How did it come about? Was it through working environment? Was it through the social environment, the conditions that you lived in? How did it just come about?
It was triggered then, but the condition bipolar, you are born with it. It's not curable, but it's treatable. Like I say, it's you either become very low. Low is in a depression state. Very high is when you're in a hyper stage. But there is treatment, like I say. There's now expert treatment. Like I'm seeing my treating psychologist and psychiatrist both. It's a team of experts that deal with my condition. They are quite happy with where I am today. Coach, medication keeps you stable. Keeps you very stable. And that's where I feel, if you manage it well, people won't even know. Like you never knew when you started.
I never knew, yeah.
Only when I told you,
Yeah.
Coach. Then, I mean, ever since we know each other, which is a very long time, many years, when I told you, you couldn't identify.
Yeah.
You never saw the vibe, not the high, not the low.
Yeah, yeah. You were always on the plane.
Yes.
You were always very stable.
Yes.
And that was the medicine playing its role. Now, Nathan, October month was the World Mental Month. And I think it was brought upon more to highlight anything. I think, take that call because I know you were expecting it. You were expecting it.
No, it's fine. I thought it was off. No, it's okay.
No,
Yeah.
I know you were expecting that call, so
Sorry
it's fine.
for that. Let me just make sure it's on silent. I put it on silent now. I don't know. Let me just make sure again, Coach. My apology. It's on silent, but I don't know why it rang.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yes.
No, it's perfect because I know this call was important, so that's why.
Thank you.
No, no. So, Nathan, for me, mental health should be every month, not just October. I think October was to highlight the importance of the mental health. But when you talk to people, and I know in your working environment and myself in the football side, it's becoming not just one or two people.
Yes.
It's becoming every second person we speak to.
Yes.
And that's why I think it's been a very courageous move from your side to come on my show and talk about it, because today we could be talking to a lot of people who think they by themselves, they're alone, but they're actually not alone in this world.
No, Coach, absolutely, I agree with you. You know, there's a lot of people who are living with a condition, undiagnosed. That's quite dangerous because they are not on medication. Once you're on medication, you can have a more normal, functional life. I want to use the right word, functional, yes, in a functional family life. And once you discover you have the condition, you need to have a family support structure, which I had.
I know you always speak about your wife, and I actually get quite emotional talking about this. Your wife played a major role, and she's been your anchor and everything for you. How important is that in a case with a person like yourself?
Like I say, the family support structure, it started back then with my wife. My brother did all the research. That's now when I become emotional. He did all the research. At the time there was no Google, but I don't know how he did his research. Then they had a bit of a full understanding about the condition, and they realized that I need to see a specialist. And we found one, an excellent one.
Now, you have a choice in life. You could have either denied it or you accepted it.
Yes.
In your case, you accepted it.
I accepted it.
And you realize that it's not the end of the world.
Oh.
You're not the only one. There are solutions, and that's when you started taking action to address the problem.
Yes. Once I decided, once I accepted the condition, saw a specialist, and then went on medication. Medication keeps me stable. That's when Coach met me, when you couldn't tell, when I told you couldn't even believe it, that I'm bipolar.
Yeah. Now, Nathan, at the moment, you've been boarded because
medically
of your
boarded, yes,
medically boarded.
Yes.
Does it happen frequently, or is it happening out there, but people are not getting boarded because they feel that they need to keep working?
People doesn't speak out, and I am a very outspoken person. The work I did was very stressful because I had a number of jobs. I'm a qualified earth moving technician. I did my apprenticeship to the same company which I mentioned, Dresser. They trained me, qualified with them. Thereafter worked for another company, Metals, but fast forward a little bit, where I became ill, Balo World. And then that's where I started to fall ill, and the research started.
Was that because of the stress at work?
Yes, it was because of the stress environment. And at the time, I went from a mechanic in the workshop, I've been promoted as a trainer. So that's when the stress started to set in, coach.
The demands of the job.
Yes, the demands of the work. So let me fast forward a little bit more now. You mentioned that I'm medically boarded. Yes, I worked for a number of years for organization. One of the CETAs, there's 21 CETAs in the country. I worked for the biggest CETA. It was demanding, but very enjoyable though. I worked with apprentices, but also the companies that employed these apprentices and trained them demanded their money back because Masita had to pay them for their training. So I had to process that money. It's a lot of money. That's when it became stressful. And I became slower and slower with my job because of all the stress that goes apart with it.
Did people in your work environment know that you were going through stress? Did they try and help you? Or did they just like, it's your job, sort it out, come hell or high water, you must make it happen? Because that's what normally happens in the work environment.
Yes, I was very fortunate when I started to speak out. I had a very good manager. Can I mention his name?
Yes.
He's Winston Adams. I spoke to him, very understandable. He spoke to management. And that's where the process started, the boarding process. Without being medically boarded at first, they gave me off for 3 months just to go and recoup. In case the medical boarding doesn't happen, then I could come back and then I had that rest. But I spoke out and they gave me all the support. Although there's not a formal support structure in place, they gave me all the support. Because there is an employee assistance program which is not formalized, but there is an assistance program.
It's interesting you say they gave you the support. They had an option, which most companies don't do. They don't give you the support.
Yes.
What happens if they don't give you the support? What could be the consequences?
I would say you'll have a mental breakdown. And then once you have a mental breakdown, to get back normal, in a more normal working environment or society, it's very tough. It will have an adverse effect on you as a person.
Now, Nathan, I'm going to ask you the most difficult question probably of today's show. I know at one stage you had a gun in your hand.
Yes, let me inform you about that. Once you are depressed, coach, all that dominates your mind. All that dominates your mind is suicide. And that dominated my mind. I went to a friend, also a distant family member. He was owning 2 guns, although it was licensed. And from my political background, I don't want to go too much into political background. I had to move from the other company I used to work for. I don't want to mention the name because I think it's not appropriate. Because of also my involvement in the union. So I left the work, I already mentioned I went to Balo World. So at the time when I went to Balo World, I fell ill. And I went to him soon afterwards and said, hey, those guys at the previous company are looking for me. Let me see your firearm. I just want to go and buy myself one. And then without him knowing that I'm in a depressive state, I asked him to fetch the firearm. He went back to fetch the other one. While he was going back to fetch the other one, I loaded the gun. I held it against my head, coach. And I pulled the trigger, and the gun was fired. And when I heard his footsteps coming down the passage again, I pulled it a second time, and the gun was fired.
Wow.
And it was a 9mm. It doesn't misfire easily. So my sister and her husband stayed around the corner. When he saw me with a gun in my hand, what I was trying to do, I gave a gun to him. I said to him, Alfred, your gun is not working, sir. And I gave it to him.
That's crazy.
I said, your gun is not
That's crazy.
I'm telling you, coach. So he was so shocked, he didn't know what I was going to do next. Was I going to shoot him or what I'm going to... So I just gave him the firearm. And then he took it. He actually disarmed it because he wasn't expecting me to load the gun. I never had any skill in doing that. But
fortunately, I think if he did, it would have triggered.
Yeah, maybe it was a lack of skill that he didn't.
Yeah.
And so I ran to my sister. She's a bit older than me. She's not the eldest, but she's a bit older than me. And her husband. he's a pastor, and he ran to them just for help. And I jumped in my car and I left. And that's when I went home and started my first day of 3.5 years of sitting down in my home as in a depressive state, as a recluse. I would say as a recluse. But when they found out that what I was doing, they tried to run around with me, went to hospitals, and they didn't know what to do. And that's before I came to the treating psychiatrist. But just going back a little bit, when he went home and tested the gun, it worked, sir.
Wow.
Yeah, it worked.
That's
Yeah.
what we call an intervention from above.
Yes, I would say that, yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's more than 20 years ago. So I don't have sat here, and I feel that if that gun would have went off, I wouldn't have made such a difference in so many people's lives.
Yeah, that's why I say it's very courageous from your side. Now, Nathan, I always say, and correct me if I'm wrong here, when people decide to take their life, they start off, the decision is not now.
Yeah.
When does it start? When does it start? Because there could be people listening to us and watching us today that are probably thinking about these situations.
Yes.
And you know, I was fun enough, in December I was in Balita on holiday, and we went out for supper with a friend of mine, and his wife said to me, oh, do you know that my brother-in-law actually committed suicide today? And I said to her, no, he didn't commit suicide today, he pulled the trigger today.
Yes, absolutely.
Does it work that way?
Yes. It's a build-up of things. And if I may just advise family that knows the person, that must observe the behavior. If a person becomes increasingly withdrawn, then there's a big possibility that person is contemplating.
Can you see it? What? Just explain it a bit about the behavior. What should people be looking for in someone if they think that there's an inclination?
Yeah. A difference in character behavior, if I may use that word, because like I say, you increasingly becomes withdrawn, less talkative, want to be on your own, don't want to go to work, don't want to wake up in the morning, out of bed, those type of things, not being talkative as usual, then that's a sign.
That's a red flag.
That's a red flag, yeah.
And you said for 3 years you sat.
3.5 years, I sat in the house. But that's after the attempt. But after that attempt failed, I never tried again. Because that was the best attempt I could have think of.
Do you think it was your second chance in life and
Yes.
a wake-up call to make a difference and do something different?
Not immediately. Remember now I was down in a depressive state for 3.5 years and without medication. Only became well before I went to a psychiatrist, which my brother also referred me to. He took me there. He ran around. He is so wise.
What would have happened if your family said, you're on your own, this guy is cuckoos?
That is where the support structure I was talking earlier about. The support structure on my side was there. I know of many guys that I go to the clinic where I used to get my medication. I say used to because remember for 3.5 years I wasn't working. So after that I was still not working. I had to be referred to a clinic to see at the time it was also student doctors. And thereafter I started to use medication and became well and so forth. However, it helped to get me on a stable line. The mood was not so up, not so down. That's where I started. And when I started working again, back in the working world, then I could afford medical aid again. That's when I could see a professional.
Now, you never took a decision to go onto substances because most people would. And that's probably what happens as we speak in the working environment.
Yes.
And we're talking about substances like alcohol,
Yes.
maybe, drugs. Do you think that is prevalent in that world to suppress the depression?
It is. That enhanced the condition. I went. Let me also reverse and rewind a bit. While I was on a recovery stage, when at that time I also become agitated, didn't know what is happening to myself. Agitated mean a little bit aggressive and stuff. And I was referred to Sterkfontein. Sterkfontein is You know, Sterkfontein.
I've heard of it. Yeah,
let me speak a little bit Afrikaans. It's a Mahal hospital.
Yeah.
So I ended up there.
Absolute.
And then also with some treatment, I was there for a month. And then back into society.
What could have happened if you had... I know, when we talk about Sterkfontein,
yes,
it's like psychiatric...
Yes. At its worst.
At its worst.
Yes.
Was there a possibility that you'd have stayed there for a longer time?
Yes. If I didn't follow the program. And while I was there, you were speaking about substance abuse. People didn't get better there because they were looking for substance. And substance mixed with your medication has got a detrimental effect. You will never get well. And I was very fortunate to make that decision, even when I was younger, not to drink, not to smoke, not to use substance. So that was counting in my favor. I never used substance. I'm not a guy that was rehabilitated. Right now, I'm on medication, and the medication keeps me stable. That's how you know me, Coach.
So, but Nathan, it's interesting. Would you say that that's one of the main reasons why drugs is so prevalent in society? Because people use it as an escape? And maybe on the weekends use the alcohol as well? To run away from these problems that they have?
Yes,
depression?
Coach, I would agree partially, but not all people that suffer mental condition use a substance.
Okay.
Also not alcohol. It's a choice. But what I'm saying is, if you have the condition and you use alcohol and substance, that's a very bad combination. It enhances the condition. To get better and be in Afrikaans verlos van die condition af. It's difficult.
Yeah. I heard a story the other day through a friend of mine. He actually works in this company, and he says that their IT department, the whole department's on drugs, substances, to control the pressure.
Yeah.
And I actually looked at him, I said, what? How crazy can this be? He says, everyone knows it, but it's the only way they can contain and suppress the depression that they go through on a daily basis and the stress of the working environment. Do you think that is prevalent in the world out there at the moment, where people go this route of trying to take drugs and other substances to move away and to maybe forget the problems of life?
In the work environment, yes, it becomes so real. Stress is so real. You know, you can have a tough boss. Then he thinks he's tough. Then he thinks but then he's actually a bully. And being working for a bully, you will do that. You will take drugs to escape the behavior towards you.
Do you think bullying is rife in the working society?
Yes, it is. It's
And
very much. It's very much. Yes, it affects people mentally so much that they don't want to wake up in the morning. They force themselves to a workplace. Unfortunately, they have to go and work and fend for their families under that circumstances.
And do you think that the bullies, we call them bullies,
yes.
And I'm anti-bully, I've always been anti-bully,
Yes.
I'm a rebel when it comes to that. Do you think that those people know that they're bullying, or do they think they just do it because it's part of their job or part of their character, or it's all about the bottom line, it's about business, we've got to be tough, we've got to be hard? What do you think makes someone become a bully? Or is it just they have the authority, they have the power, and they have the control over you? Do you think it's something like that?
The latter, what you're saying, the power that they have.
The power.
And power is a negative thing if you don't know how to exercise power. I would say those bullies, those managers that we call bullies, they need to be rehabilitated and find a modern way of management.
I agree with you 100%.
Modern way of management.
In actual fact, I do talks in the corporate world, and Nathan, I know you and I are going to start a project soon, where we'll be contributing in a positive way using your life experiences and mine through football, but also the knowledge that I've acquired the last 8 months, because those people need help. They don't know any better.
Absolutely. They, especially in the workplace, Coach, if they are not seeking for help, and I would advise companies to instill, if that is the right word, an employee assistance program. Once they see a trend of absenteeism, it's not absconding. They don't want to come to work because they are being bullied, and also the stress that goes apart with that. They should have an employee assistance program rather than to just discipline and dismiss you. That is not the way to go.
Yeah, I think we're in the 21st century.
Yes.
There's so much information out there
Yes,
that
yes, I agree,
there's
yeah.
no more excuse.
Yeah.
In actual fact, empathy leadership is the way forward.
Yeah.
Caring is the way forward.
Yes.
Looking after your staff is the way forward. And, I say this with an interesting topic, yeah, that the company spends so much money in trying to market their brand, trying to reach the consumer in a positive way. Yet the people that can destroy all that money that they're investing in is the employee.
Absolutely, yes.
So the focus should be on the employee.
Yes.
Because then the employee, because he's the contact with the consumer.
I agree. Yeah. The employee is your most prized asset. You should look after that employee first and foremost. That's what we call human resources. Most people misinterpret the word human resources. The human resources is the people that work for you.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah. Let me just go through some stats here, which is quite interesting. 700,000 people worldwide commit suicide on a yearly basis. 700,000.
700,000. I never knew that. Yeah.
It's close to 1 million.
Yeah.
There's 300,000 short of 1 million, which is a lot. 10% of the youngsters try self-harm.
Yes.
10%.
10% is a lot.
It's a lot.
Yes.
Which is a topic we haven't discussed, but we'll unpack now.
Yeah.
Between the ages of 15 and 19, the suicide rate is high. Why would you think at this age suicide mentality or suicide rate is so high?
Between 15 and 19.
Because you were there at one stage as a youngster.
And at the time I didn't know what was happening with me, and it was the condition. 15 and 19 is a very critical stage of your life. You're becoming an adult, you are still an adolescent, you're becoming an adult now. You don't know what's going to happen in future. You don't know what to decide.
So it's the uncertainty.
The uncertainty. Also peer pressure, perhaps. You either become involved into substance or you don't. It is a decision. But it's more a position you find yourselves in. What am I going to do if I transcend, if that is the word, from a youth person into an adulthood? Where am I going to get money from to buy a car, for instance, a house, and fend for a family? Because it's in that transition period that people are taking their lives.
And it's interesting you say that. And now that I look at the age group, it makes so much sense, because before that, our parents look after us.
Yeah.
You got nothing to worry about. There's no concern. Yeah. There's no worries in the world.
Yeah.
You wake up in the morning, you go to school, you do your thing. Your parents feed you. They clothe you. There is no priorities. The priority is just do what you have to do as a youngster.
Yes, yes.
Try and play, have fun, and grow up. But you're so right when you say that at this age, it's the age of transitioning.
Yes.
And the youngsters are not equipped. So let's bring in the school pressure. How much pressure there is in school at the moment to perform and get marks. Sports, bullying, peer pressure.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's a difficult moment in your life. And as a youngster, you have choices to make. And if you're not mentally prepared, and I want to take it another step further where you say, if you don't know what you want, it's the uncertainty, it's the unknown that starts creating this pressure. So you believe that this is one of, well, not one, but look how many we've gone through now. We've gone through 5 different reasons.
Different reasons, yeah. Then you think the easy way out is for you to take your life. And most youngsters are successful.
So knowing this, surely the Department of Education should have this information. Yes. Why don't the schools have a better intervention in this environment? Would you come from a background, I know you're one of the committee members out there in Reiger Park. Yes. What is the situation in the schools there?
I would say there's a lack of education regarding what we are, our topic now, a lack of education. They should prepare the youngsters more for the adult world. Lack of information. So, and the youngsters are unprepared for the future. They should be exposed to a lot of opportunities. The technical field, more academic. Everybody is not an academic. I'm in a technical field. Like I mentioned, I was an apprentice and became an artisan and became a trainer in artisan. And right now, while I'm medically boarded, I'm also consulting a bit for a training academy. I'm doing trade test assessments, final trade test assessments. Youngsters need to be advised in different fields for them to know there's an opportunity. Once there is an opportunity for them, then the domination of the of suicide will be much less. But it also starts with the education department, I would say.
Would you think the education department definitely? Would you say that the parents themselves need to have the skills to identify what talents the sons or the kids have to guide them in the right direction, and the parents also are not equipped to give them those guidances?
Absolutely. Parents depend so much, which is also a bit of a problem. They depend so much on the teachers to take all that responsibility away from them. They think for them the best is going to work, come back, bring their money. Especially most mothers are house mothers, house moms, house executives, like we call them, to just receive that money, feed the kids, and it's not part of their duties to prepare the youngsters, their own kids, for the future.
So would you say then that the time has come where parents need to sit down and show more care and try and guide the youngsters, see what talents they have?
Yes.
And not everyone can become a doctor, not everyone becomes a lawyer, not everyone becomes... I'm from Portugal, and at the moment Portugal has a huge crisis as far as employment is concerned. They got to import workers or labourers to work in the construction. And the Portuguese were known for construction for years.
For years.
For
I
years.
remember, yeah.
Now no one wants to go into construction because it's hard work. No one wants to go into farming because it's hard work.
Yes.
So they got to import labourers from Bangladesh, from Pakistan to do those jobs.
Yes.
Do you think that society, in a way, and I understand where the youngsters come from. Hard labour is tough.
It is tough, right?
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's not every...
I want to add there, Coach. Hard labor is tough. There's a whole generation of I would call it a vacuum of artisans.
Yes.
That existed here in South Africa. I'm an artisan, and I know. Then that generation I'm talking about, everyone wanted to go into IT at some stage.
Yes.
And then we had to struggle to fill that vacuum. Right now, we are winning the fight.
Oh, you're winning the
We're
fight.
winning the fight. A lot of youngsters know that also to become an artisan is also a nice skill to have.
Wow.
And you can build a career out of that. And is equally qualified as a medical doctor because it takes almost the same number of years. And you can also become a specialist in your field. You can become an engineer, like the doctors become a specialist, a surgeon. So there's nothing inferior of becoming an artisan.
No, and you know what? I agree with you because at the moment, if I want a carpenter, where do I find one?
Yes.
My father-in-law was a carpenter. The Portuguese were carpenters. The Italians were carpenters.
Yes.
That's how they were brought up in those days. Nowadays, no one wants to be a carpenter.
Yes.
No one wants to be a plumber. No one wants to be an electrician. No one wants to do those jobs. But for me, those are the most important jobs at the moment. So when you talk about skill deficiency, there's an opportunity. And,
Yes.
and sometimes I look at myself and I wish I knew to do carpentry.
Yeah.
Isn't it great to do something and you look back and you say, wow, I actually did this.
Yeah.
You know, but
Yeah.
everyone wants to everyone wants to become a doctor because it's the status thing.
Yes.
Society has been driven by status. So it's nice to be a doctor, it's nice to be an engineer, a doctor, a lawyer, whatever it is.
Yes.
Everyone wants to be status driven, eh? But you're so right. And you're in that world, Nathan. So what do you see at the moment, and what advice would you give youngsters that are listening and watching us on Facebook? What advice would you say? You're 15 years old, what should you be looking at? If you don't have the academic mentality, what should you be looking at?
I would say that Department of Labor also should play a role, and also not necessarily manufacture, create opportunities where a youngster can be assessed in which field he would excel. It's senseless presenting him an opportunity to become a skillful an artisan, and they didn't assess him properly. For him, he will say, anything, I will be taking anything. Then he gets an opportunity as an auto electrician, whereas he would become a better earth moving mechanic, or a diesel mechanic, or a better boiler maker, or a plumber. But he just got that opportunity which he grabbed with all both his hands. In his second year as an electrician, he finds himself, he doesn't enjoy it. So there must be an aptitude test where you would be assessed and see where is your capabilities, where's the best field that you can make the best out of what you're going to do in future.
I think that is great advice. And are there institutions like that can guide the youngsters? Do they go to the schools and give them that advice? Or is it just like you fend for yourself?
No, there is actually the organization that I'm actually working and consulting with now. They have courses like that to ensure that the youngsters doesn't take the wrong trade. They assess you, make sure that you choose the right field. Then the youngster doesn't just say, anything, and then he takes plumbing, like you mentioned, or carpentry, and then it's not either one of the two. He's a fantastic mechanic.
Can those tests really assess you properly or give you a guidance?
Yes, it gives a good guidance.
Good guidance?
Good guidance, yeah.
Okay.
It must just be introduced more into companies that wants to train good, competent artisans.
What happened to the world where internships were given opportunity? Does that still exist, or is that moved on, or is that something of the past?
No, internships, companies does do a lot of internships. We even get internships in, I would say, like in the food industry. You get internships, like companies like FedEx and them, and also SEPI in the paper field. SEPI also trained a lot of different artisans, but most companies provide opportunities for interns. Even in the HR field, you get an HR intern. There is that opportunity,
okay.
And it didn't fade out.
Okay,
yeah.
So interesting. I'm going to talk about another topic here, another stats that mostly in low and middle income group countries, the suicide rates are high.
Yes.
Interesting. Yeah. We are in this category.
Yes.
We are low to medium. What advice would you give the youngsters or parents that are listening to us now, and even parents that are battling, what advice would you give them?
I would say in the field you find yourself where you are considered in the low income field, is upskilling, and that's where companies are coming in. Because companies have a budget for upskilling and training and development. They should use that budget that they have to upskill their employees.
Would you say that by upskilling would minimize depression?
Yes. You find a sense of belonging. Yes, it will minimize the risk and in anybody, because suicidal is not only in a certain age group. That's a statistic which you mentioned. It also become a reality in middle age. Also, people that have become older, that think, okay, I'm nearing pension. What am I going to do after pension? My pension money funds is not sufficient to sustain me for another 15 to 20 years after I'm on pension. Suicide is also happening in that age group.
Nathan, we're coming to a period of the year. For me, it's the most complicated period of the year. Emotionally, psychologically, it's the most difficult. It's Christmas time. People are forgotten. What happens at this time of the year? And from your experience, what is so crucial that we need to start looking at?
This time of the year, people, especially people that doesn't go like that support structure which I mentioned, they know they're going to go on holiday, companies are closing, and people that doesn't interact a lot. You get an introvert person. So they have got that sense of belonging at work. Once the company is closed for a month, then they feel very withdrawn, no people around them, and that's when the time when they feel that it's not worth it. And they commit suicide.
They start committing suicide.
Yeah.
Do you think it happens?
Yes, a lot. There is statistics with the depression and anxiety group. They work a lot with that. If a family member just observe a situation like that, they have got a 24-hour helpline. I've never phoned them, because ever since I've tried and failed, I never had to phone them. because I will never try it again. I had my second chance, and my second chance is here. I'm sitting with coach,
Yeah.
and talk about it, and hopefully it make a difference to a lot of people that are listening.
Now, it's well known that exercise and nutrition is key to try and minimize exercise, definitely because of dopamine.
Yes.
It's one way you should look at trying to work out, and the other one is nutrition because of you feed the brain with the right foods, and you activate the brain in a positive way.
Yes.
Better moods and all those things. So there's more positives than negatives.
Absolutely.
How did you ever think of exercising? I know you were injured, so it's a difficult one for you. But
for now, yeah.
Yes. What is your idea about exercise? What should people be looking at?
While I was also receiving my treatment, I was advised to start exercising. This is why I am sitting with this injury now. We cannot run. During lockdown, I was advised by endocrinologist, look, to balance your sugar levels and this and the other thing, to live a healthier lifestyle. Here's your diet plan and start exercising. And I went a bit overboard. Remember I mentioned that I had 2 surgeries when I was young, when I was playing soccer. So I went out of hard lockdown and went on the road and started running and sweating everything out and lost that weight, coach. I lost that weight, about 12, 13 kilos. And that's the time when injury set in again. I had to go for another surgery, knee replacement, which didn't go so well. We don't want to elaborate too much on that. However, nutrition is of utmost importance, and exercise. So you are absolutely right.
So if you bring those 2 into your life, which is easy to do, by the way, it's just a change of mentality.
Yes.
And I know it's difficult. Listen, at one stage when I was at Swallows, I didn't go into depression, but it was tough. And what you spoke about earlier, and I used to come home after training, I sit on my couch like a zombie.
Yeah.
You know, because I felt like doing nothing.
Yeah.
So to get up and do exercise is not easy, because mentally you got to get yourself there. But what I realized was that just by going to the gym and working out, even if it was 20 minutes a day, you start you start feeling better about yourself. It's called self-care.
Absolutely.
And how important is self-care for you in this situation of depression?
Right now I cannot run anymore, and I'm not sorry about that. I wasn't supposed to do that with the prior injuries of 32 years ago. I was just supposed to walk. Because I don't know if everybody agrees, but according to my knowledge, your body is not built to run long distance.
Well, you can't tell that to Joseph. Yeah,
I believe
Joseph
so.
always running.
I believe
he's on his way to Nelspruit as we speak to run tomorrow. He's a runner.
Your body is not built to run. You never heard in the Bible days that Moses used to run from Cairo from Egypt, from Cape to Cairo, whatever the case may be. Never run. They walked. So walking is a good exercise. If you are a young person or older person, if you have that love for running and you are cautious, you have the right running shoes, then it's fine.
I agree with you. Walking is definitely the easiest, let's be honest.
Yes.
And you can walk around anywhere.
Yes.
The other one is sunlight.
Yeah.
Vitamin D.
Yes.
It has a positive effect.
It does.
So there's certain things we can do to manage ourselves, and that's why I talk about self-care.
Absolutely.
You don't have to be an expert. You just have to have some knowledge. The one is nutrition. Stop eating junk food.
Yeah, I agree. Which I'm a little bit guilty of now, but I don't exercise a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
So junk food, swing a little bit to the more the healthy stuff.
Yes.
Exercise, walk.
Yes.
Outside in nature.
Yes.
It plays a crucial role, and we're blessed in this country by having sunlight 365 days a year, literally. Literally.
Absolutely.
When I look at the stats, and because I did a lot of courses recently on mental health, it comes through quite prominent about no sunlight. Countries with no sunlight, or with the Nordic countries, England, those people are depressed.
Absolutely.
Because they don't get enough sunlight. Sunlight is vitamin D.
Yes.
So simple little things, Nathan, that you can do, that you can fix yourself up.
Yeah.
But the most important part is your brain. How do you do that when your brain is so messed up?
Coach, like you mentioned, we are one of the blessed countries with so much sunlight. I know also during COVID they said you must at least go out if you have COVID. Go out in the sun for at least 2 hours. It helped a lot of people. Remember also the rate at which people died during COVID. South Africa was also one of the lowest number of people that died of COVID. And the recovery rate was very high because of the climate, of our weather. Went out for 2 hours, receive your dose of vitamin D, and yeah, a little bit of medication was you could solve your problem of having COVID.
How important do you think is socially or socializing to minimize depression, or at least take your mind off your problems? How important do you think is socializing with the right group of friends, by the way?
Yes, yes. You know, like I earlier mentioned earlier on, family members should also observe when when a family member experience withdrawal, because socializing is important for everyone. You need to interact. It is absolutely essential. But if anyone notices that the person that used to interact a lot is becoming increasingly withdrawal, and then that should be raising a red flag.
I was brought up with my parents eating at the table as a family.
Mm.
I know it's less and less as we speak. How important do you think that is? Because those moments of socializing with your family at supper time could minimize certain aspects of understanding what the problems are.
Yeah, I know it's becoming increasingly difficult with the different times of employment of your family members, but we are so blessed as a family. We eat together at a certain time.
And what do you discuss in those moments?
You know, everyday things, coach. Everyday things. What happened during the course of the year. You're planning for the weekend, like today is Friday. What are we going to do over the weekend? Planning is very essential. Well, going to church is one of our beliefs, you know. Although the church doesn't fix your spiritual life. You can be a good spiritual person without going to church. But we plan our weekend. You know, on Saturday I spend a lot of time with my wife. I have 2 daughters. I have 4 grandkids. I plan my weekend. So that's interaction with me, you know, is important for me. I cannot really talk a lot about planning for other people now. But if you have a family member and notice for the last couple of weeks that your family member becomes increasingly, like I say, increasingly withdrawal, there's a red flag. You should interact with that person and try to get help also. Don't just talk to you because you are not a trained psychiatrist or psychologist.
Wow. All right. So it's clear. Family environment is crucial.
Yes.
Socializing with the right people
Yes.
is important.
Yes.
Because getting sidetracked and going down the wrong route
Yes.
is also a problem. Not everyone has the courage to stand up to your peers. How difficult is it when you have someone that is easily manipulated and goes down the wrong track? How difficult is it? What do you think? Does it happen?
It does happen. You find people that doesn't speak up for themselves. They absorb all the pressure, which is a dangerous place to be. I have 2 daughters. The one is very outspoken, and the other one
Withdrawn.
very withdrawn.
Introvert.
But at the wrong time, she wants to speak out. She shouldn't have absorbed all the pressure. And if I may mention,
Yeah.
my one daughter just left work now, a month ago, because of stress. Same stress I had.
Now, it's interesting you say speak out. And in a work environment, when you speak out, people take you as cheeky, a bad attitude, arrogant, but they should actually be listening.
Yes, yes,
Not saying you got a bad attitude.
yes.
They should be listening because those people are you must read the message.
Yeah,
And the bosses and managers and whatever, they don't want to listen. They just
Yeah.
think that you're being cheeky. So it's time for people to start reflecting and listening more than talking.
that's what sorry to interrupt you, coach. That's why I mentioned that modern style of management. The manager should know how to manage different characters, different personalities. Everybody's not the same. Like I say, I've got two daughters. One is like this, the other one is like that. But they are both very pleasant persons. But you have to understand.
One bottles up and then explodes.
Yes.
The other one just hits back straight away.
Yeah.
And that one releases the frustration.
Straight away.
It's like a pressure cooker.
Yeah. She someone tells me, Daddy, no, you must keep quiet and listen to what I got to say.
Yeah.
And the other one will listen to what Daddy says and then advise me.
Yeah.
So yes, we got a very interactive relationship. You know, me as a father, I had to manage both characters, both personalities, which I think I did an excellent job.
Well, you know, it's interesting you say that because as a football coach, we deal with 26 players and everyone's different.
Yes.
Okay. And the secret is to understand them, get to know the different personalities.
Yes.
But the most important part, and this was my success, listen.
Yeah.
When people talk, listen. Listen to what they're saying. Read in between the lines.
Yes.
You know, sometimes they're venting their frustration. Not everyone is skilled enough to communicate properly.
Yes.
Not everyone has tact. But as coaches and as managers, I took it upon myself to learn that.
Yeah.
I realized that I was dealing with human beings. I wasn't dealing with a machine. A machine breaks down, you get the spanner and you fix it. It doesn't talk back to you.
Yeah, it doesn't. Now,
a human being breaks down, you got to know how to fix it.
Yes.
And how do you fix it? It's by listening. And as managers, they're not taught and they're not skilled enough to listen. They're skilled and they only get the competency level is to do the job, is to monitor. It's basically monitor figures. But the competency level is not dealing with human beings. And I think society needs to change as well.
Absolutely.
That we're dealing with human beings and managers need to start knowing how to deal with human beings. You're a trainer. How do you go about it in this day and age?
I also find it quite easily because I think I have a skill to monitor different or to deal with different personalities. And each one of my students, my learners, come from a different home. And they have got different personalities. But I think it's also a skill. It's not something that you can learn over, maybe you can learn over years, but you have to manage the different personalities. And I think I'm quite good in that.
Do you think that your life experience has helped you?
A lot. When I went through my difficulties, I wasn't a trainer. I could just go to an engine or go to a component, go to a pump and just focus on that thing. And I didn't have to speak to anybody, just take my instruction, and the bottom line is to fix it, and to end of the day, mission accomplished.
Result was mission accomplished. Fix the machine.
Yeah, there was no human interaction involved.
Yeah.
But now, giving a class, I had to learn that skill also. But I think I have managed to do it quite well.
Do you think you learned it because you have initiative, or you reflected and you thought to yourself, I need to change the way I think? Where was the... I don't want to use the trigger word.
Yeah. Because that trigger, luckily, it didn't work for me.
It must fire.
Just now you say trigger, it must fire again. Coach.
Where was the moment that you realized, I have the skill, I need to start rewiring my brain to talk to human beings and connect with people?
Yeah, you know what, Coach? You have to have a bit of both, experience and what you have learned. And if you put the two together, you have a perfect combination. I cannot say that my past experience only helped me with the situation and to teach children. You have to have that human side of things.
No, the human side is the crucial part.
It's the crucial part.
Yeah, it was in you. I think it was in you. You just never realized it.
Yes.
Now it's through your experiences, you reflected, you realized, hang on, if I'm going to help people, it's starting to shine.
Yes.
The new Nathan van Niekerk is shining now. And do you connect easy with people because of that? Because of your experience?
Yes, I do. I think even before that, I think I'm, even if I have to say it myself, I'm a quite likable person because I'm naturally a giver. So it was easy for me to share my knowledge and my experience. When I was an apprentice, if I just may go back, I have helped youngsters that were about to write trade tests, and I was in my first and second year as an apprentice, and they were successful in completing their apprenticeships. They were far ahead of me, but I was the one to assist them on acquiring that qualification.
So you bring me back to the point where I say parents need to realize and look at the talents what the kids have, and parents don't look at that.
Yes, yes.
I know for myself that if I knew then what I know now, if my parents knew what they knew different, my life would have been different. The parents are not skilled. The parents are not taught, look at the talent. What is the youngster good at doing?
Yeah.
Let's look at the kids without looking at them with our eyes.
Yeah.
We look at them with our eyes.
Yeah.
You can't identify talent with eyes.
You can't.
You got to see talent.
Yes.
And you got to, I mean, my nephew, he battles in school. He battled in school all his life, and my brother didn't know what to do with him. He's like, yeah, but my son, he failed again and failed again. And eventually, I went to a stage where I said to him, "Listen, forget the academics. It's not for him.
Yeah.
We're flogging a dead horse here.
Yeah, yeah.
You want him to be what? If it's not in him to be an academic, it's fine. There's other stuff to do."
Yes. Yes.
And I actually suggested, I said, let him do a plumber's course.
Yeah.
Plumbers make good money.
Yes.
I should have been a plumber myself.
Yeah, yeah.
When I see how much money they make, it's,
Yeah, yeah.
you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's true.
So there's an opportunity for people.
Yeah.
Now he's doing something, but it's with his hands.
And now he excels.
Now he's excelling. Now he's happy.
Yeah.
He's in his space
Yes.
because he was being forced down the wrong channel.
Yes.
Because it had to be academic.
Yes.
Because peers were academically driven. I said,
Yes.
we're not all cats.
That's where some parents get it wrong. They force their children into a certain direction. I remember a story which I read. I'm not an avid reader, but I remember a story I read. A father forced his son. He was smart. He could learn, read stuff, and give it back to you on a piece of paper exams. Forced his son to become a doctor. And that's like he excelled and excelled. That's a story I read, and it's a real life story. This youngster wanted to become a musician because he was good in instruments and so forth. But his father said, no, you have to become a doctor. Because he wanted to live his life through his son.
Yes.
Which is a wrong thing to do.
Do you think that adds stress to the youngsters?
Yes,
Could that be another factor?
Yes. Let me complete that story, Coach. When that boy qualified with good grades as a doctor, on the day he qualified, he said to his father, I'm done, I'm a doctor now, I want to be a musician. On the day he qualified. He
Wow.
never practiced as a doctor.
Wow.
So he said to his father, you are happy now? I'm a doctor, but I don't want to do this. So I want to add this also, just before you say, he praat te veel.
Nee, jy moet praat, ek hoor. Ek luister.
You have to make sure that your child goes into the right direction. Like I say, even the Department of Labor should play a role and create opportunities where youngsters do write different tests to see where their strengths lies.
I want to tell you, you've just nailed something. When my kids were in standard 9 in those days,
Yeah.
I think it was grade
11 now.
Grade 11, yeah. I called them both. One was 1 year ahead.
Yeah.
And I said to them, I'm not going to tell you what you need to do, but I want you to do something that you are self-employed. I don't want you to be in a corporate world, because I had come from a corporate world.
Yes.
And I know that a corporate world is a toxic environment.
Absolutely, yeah.
And all I want them was to be self-employed. I said, whatever you do, be self-employed. Be the master of your own destiny.
Yes, I agree with it.
That's all I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
And think about what you like to do.
Yes.
And my son said, Dad, I was thinking of sports psychology because he was brought up in football.
Yeah,
he was brought up around me. If you look at most of his photographs, he's on the soccer field. It's crazy. And I said to him, sports psychology is great, but it's a very narrow industry.
Yeah.
Very narrow. Study psychology and then you have more options, because then you can specialize in different fields. And he started to be a physio.
Okay.
My daughter studied, she's an occupational therapist.
Yes.
The interesting part is they're both self-employed.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
They don't work for a boss.
Wonderful.
Because I realized that working for a boss wasn't always the right thing to do.
Yes.
That was my mentality.
Yes.
Because I was a bit of a rebel as well.
Yes.
You know, I treat people with respect, so you treat me with respect.
Yes.
I treat you with dignity, you treat me with dignity.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in the corporate environment, people forget those values
Yeah.
because they have the power.
Yeah, that's what power we were talking about
Yeah,
earlier.
yeah, I pay you.
Yeah.
You know, that's the mentality. And because I pay you, you think you have a right to do what you want with me. No, you don't.
Yes. No.
So I always fought against those principles. Even in the corporate world, I used to fight for my colleagues.
Yes.
And I used to go to top management and say, you guys are not being fair with this person.
Yeah.
So I'm come from the fair principles. So it's interesting that you say that because parents have a role to play, to minimize at least.
Yes, they do. It's not like in our generation, our fathers. Let's go back, our generation, one generation back. My father only used to know one thing. You go to school, you get good grades. After that, you get a good job. And that's it. You'll be a good father, and for your kids, you'll be able to do everything. What? He never taught us money, a value of money, how to make your own money. Only now I realized, although about 2 or 3 years ago, that I need to register a company for my daughters with a partner. So now I'm helping them to start off with their business. Though my one daughter is a qualified chef, she decided not to work as a chef anymore, but she's a qualified chef.
She can start her own business.
Yes. Qualified chef, she can do that still. She can own her own restaurant. It's
Yeah,
up to her still.
Yeah.
But she went also into the skill development, like I did. She was working with apprentices as well. And part of that will become part of the business. So she's still learning the field which she can come and implement in their own business. My other daughter is a HR practitioner, the one that I say that was too much pressure for her, too much stress, and she can use that skill into the business. Combine that two skills, they'll have a good business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Nathan, now you're learning from the mistakes of the past.
Absolutely.
And our parents didn't have those skills.
They
the world
didn't.
has changed.
Yeah.
Now, Google
Yeah.
is probably the best thing that's happened.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
there are no more secrets.
Nothing.
When I want to know something, I just go on Google.
Yes.
Yes, some of it is,
Yeah,
I take it
yeah.
with a pinch of salt. You can't
Yes.
just read everything and it's true on Google.
Yes,
That's
yes.
another thing I've learned. But there's 3 or 4 or 5 different options there, and you can learn and you can see. But it gives you guidelines.
I agree. Absolutely, you're right.
And the times have changed. There's
Yes.
There's more information.
Yes.
In
yes.
our parents' days, the information was limited.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
TV was what it was.
Yeah.
Newspapers.
Yeah.
Was
yeah.
it-
Very little information.
Very, very info.
Yeah.
Now everyone's informed, and the world has changed as well.
Yes.
That you don't just learn one thing and you go the rest of your life doing that.
Yes.
It's interesting. I was reading an article the other day that modern society, with the youngsters of today, they'll go through 3 or 4 different jobs. How's
yeah,
that?
Yeah.
You know, before a welder was a welder
Yeah.
for the rest of his life.
From start to finish.
Finish.
You go on pension as a welder.
Yes, as a welder.
Yeah.
A plumber was a plumber.
Yeah.
That's how it was.
Yeah.
And you were saying earlier on about get yourself a job. That was the American mentality.
Yes.
Get yourself a job, get a house, buy a car, live the American dream of a family, work for the rest of your life, and then go on pension.
Yeah.
That was the mentality. And South Africa had that mentality.
We do.
We did.
Yeah.
Right? And that's how the world was.
Yeah.
But the world has changed.
Absolutely.
And COVID has accelerated
Yeah.
lots of
Made you
things.
think but much deeper and much better. Yeah.
Yeah, and interesting enough, the world only evolves through a crisis.
Absolutely.
And that was a crisis. COVID was a crisis.
Was,
I mean, all of a sudden we're going on Zoom meetings. What was
Yeah.
Zoom before?
true. Yeah.
It's changed.
Yeah, it's changed. Yeah.
So even working for yourself now, and this is the last question, working for yourself from home, do you think it also brings pressure and creates depression and anxiety? Because there's no society, there's no one around you. It's just you.
Yes, I believe so. Working from home has got its benefits. Benefits mostly for the organizations because they have less overheads, but it stops you from that interaction, from that jumping in your car, go to work, through the traffic. It creates also that sense of belonging also. coming back from work, stop at a Pick and Pay, find someone, find coach there. Coach, how are you doing? Where are you? Which coach? Which team are you coaching now? But in your own space, in your own house, can cause depression, coach.
Because it's just you.
Just you.
All the problems are yours.
Yes.
You carry those problems. There's no one to speak to.
Yes.
Do you think that...
Like you say, the meetings is all teams.
Yeah.
You have 4 people having a meeting. Where are they? All in their own homes. You don't, after the meeting, can say, hey, this was a lovely meeting. And interact a little bit, drink a
Yeah, Friday afternoon, for example,
yes.
This afternoon.
There's a bride. Yes.
Work.
Yeah.
That's
all
disappeared. That's all gone.
Yeah.
So the people are also self-employed now, working from home.
Yeah, he's selling his skills now. And then at a certain price.
Paying the price. Paying the mental health price.
Paying the mental, yeah.
Because that's crucial.
Yeah.
And people forget about this, Nathan. It's interesting that people think the problem is only out in the working environment. But if you're self-employed,
yes,
you also start going through depression.
You should have the balance.
You should have a balance.
Yeah. Companies now that want only the employees to work from home should rethink and say at least 2 days from work, 3 days in the office to create that balance, coach.
Nathan, we've come to the end of the show. 1 hour is gone. I want to thank you for making it an interesting conversation. Number one, for sharing your insight, for sharing the moments that you went through, the tough moments, and you've come out of it. That the world, there is hope out there, and you thought you were the only one, but you're not the only one.
You're not the only one, and coach, there is help in case you find yourself in a situation where I am. There is help, there is treatment, and you're never alone, coach. Just seek help, and then the world is all yours. Coach, thank you for inviting me. I really enjoyed the show.
No, ek sê baie dankie. Namens die feeskomitee en my skoonma. We've come to the end of the show. I hope that you've enjoyed it. I hope that there's a lot of information that can make you think, rewire your brain, and remember, character matters. You're not alone in this world. There's people out there that care about you, and we'll see you next week. Good night.